What if I told you that some of the most powerful things you can do to protect your mind are already part of your daily life? In the next few minutes, you'll discover 7 ordinary activities, things you likely do without even thinking, that are secretly keeping your brain sharp, your memory strong, and your spirit vibrant. And stay with me until the very end, because the last activity we'll explore is the one most people overlook, yet it may hold the key to aging with clarity, connection, and joy. The power of small choices, why your everyday actions matter. You don't need a brain training app, you don't need to solve crosswords all day, and you certainly don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on supplements with fancy labels. Because sometimes the simplest, quietest routines, like watering your plants, having a real conversation, or even cooking a familiar meal, are the very things that build long-lasting mental strength. It turns out, cognitive health isn't just preserved by doing brainy things. It's nourished by meaningful engagement with life. Science shows that even subtle tasks, when done with intention, can stimulate neural pathways, preserve memory, and even grow new brain cells. Imagine that. You could be supporting your mind every time you sweep your porch or chat with your neighbor. Let's start with this idea. Cognitive resilience comes not from grand gestures, but from consistent, small choices woven into your daily rhythm. At this stage in life, the goal isn't to chase youth, but to strengthen wisdom. It's about preserving what matters most: your stories, your clarity, your presence. Activity number 1, walking with purpose. You've probably heard that walking is good for the heart, but did you know it's just as powerful for the brain? Neuroscientists have discovered that brisk walking increases the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the brain's frontal lobe, the area responsible for planning, memory, and emotional regulation. In fact, a recent study from the University of British Columbia found that walking for just 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week, can actually increase the size of the hippocampus, the region of the brain tied to memory and learning. But it's not just the movement, it's the mindfulness. When you walk with intention, when you notice the sounds of birds, the feel of the breeze, the rhythm of your steps, you're activating your sensory network and grounding your mind in the present. This calms anxiety, boosts clarity, and over time, sharpens focus. So don't underestimate your morning or evening stroll, especially if you add a little variety, change up your route, walk with a friend, or take in a new environment. Each walk is a gentle challenge for your brain. Activity number 2, cooking a familiar recipe from memory. Think of the last time you made your favorite soup or baked those holiday cookies from scratch. You weren't just preparing food, you were recalling, sequencing, and multitasking. Cooking from memory, especially without relying heavily on a recipe, engages multiple regions of the brain at once: memory recall, motor coordination, and even your sense of smell and taste. This combination helps reinforce cognitive function in a meaningful and enjoyable way. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that routine cooking activities may support executive functioning and episodic memory in older adults. But here's the trick. Don't just follow the instructions. Try to recall the steps. Taste as you go. Adjust with intuition. This activates your long-term memory and builds confidence. And if you cook for someone else, even better. The social aspect adds another layer of cognitive engagement. Sharing a meal connects people emotionally, and studies show social connection is one of the strongest predictors of long-term brain health. Activity number 4, gardening, the therapy of dirt. There's something quietly magical about gardening. You bend, reach, smell, feel. You nurture life with your hands. What many don't realize is that gardening is a full brain experience. It involves planning, what to plant and where, problem solving, how to deal with pests or weather, and motor coordination, digging, planting, trimming. Even more fascinating, soil contains a natural bacteria called Mycobacterium bacchae, which has been shown to increase serotonin levels, improve mood, and reduce anxiety naturally. So every time you dig your fingers into the dirt, you're not just growing vegetables or flowers, you're giving your brain a little chemical boost. And let's not forget the emotional side. Gardening gives us something to look forward to care for. It offers a sense of responsibility, accomplishment, and peace, each of which contributes to mental resilience in subtle, beautiful ways. Activity number 4, telling stories from your past. Our memories are not just reflections of the past. They're the building blocks of identity. When you share a story with a grandchild, a friend, or even a stranger, you're doing more than reminiscing. You're reinforcing the neural networks that help preserve memory and language. And narrative recall, especially spoken out loud, activates the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. And when you connect your story to emotion, like joy, sadness, or laughter, you deepen the memory's imprint. So the next time someone asks about the good old days, don't brush it off. Tell them about your first car, the song you danced to on your wedding day, the funny story from when you were raising your kids. Every time you tell a story, you keep your brain alive, your memories vivid, and your legacy growing. If you're still watching, I want to thank you for being here. It means you care about your mind, your future, and your well-being. If you've made it this far, type 1 in the comments below. It's a small way to show you're walking this journey with us, and I read every single one. Activity number 5, listening to music you loved in your 20s. Have you ever noticed how a certain song can take you back in time, like instantly? Like you're driving your first car, or dancing in the kitchen, or holding hands with someone special? That's no coincidence. Music lights up the brain like fireworks. When you listen to songs from your younger years, especially your teens and 20s, it activates the brain's default mode network, responsible for autobiographical memory and identity. That means your brain connects music with moments, faces, feelings, and meaning. And here's what's beautiful. You don't need to dance or even sing along. Simply listening, especially with eyes closed, can spark emotional memories, strengthen mood, and reduce cognitive decline. Want to take it a step further? Curate a playlist of your life songs. Songs from high school, your wedding, or even the first album you ever owned. Play it once a day during quiet time. You're not just feeding your heart, you're feeding your brain.
Activity number 6, talking to a stranger. This one may surprise you, but neuroscience tells us that short, unexpected conversations, yes, even with strangers, can stimulate the brain in powerful ways. Why? Because they require quick thinking, emotional reading, and novelty. The brain thrives on novelty. When you ask the woman behind you in line how her day is going or chat briefly with your mail carrier about the weather, you're practicing real-time social cognition, interpreting tone, reading cues, building connection. Studies show that older adults who have frequent, low-pressure social interactions, even with acquaintances or strangers, report higher feelings of mental stimulation, belonging, and clarity. So next time you're out and about, smile first. Ask a question. Share a warm observation. These micro-connections are more than polite. They're cognitive fuel. Activity number 7. Doing something new, even if it's small. Whether it's trying a new recipe, taking a new route to the grocery store, or learning how to use a feature on your phone, doing something new activates the brain's neuroplasticity. That's the brain's ability to form new connections, adapt, and grow. It doesn't have to be a big change. In fact, the smaller and more frequent the novelty, the better. The idea is to gently nudge the brain into unfamiliar territory. This keeps cognitive pathways flexible, essential for long-term brain health. A 2021 study published in Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews found that novel tasks, even simple ones, enhanced memory, attention, and processing speed in adults over 65. The secret? Keep it fresh. Keep it fun. Even changing which hand you use to brush your teeth or rearranging your living room furniture can wake up dormant neural circuits. Little shifts, big gains. The science behind everyday mental strength. You might wonder, how can something as ordinary as walking, gardening, or cooking have such a profound impact on the brain? It's because your brain is always listening, always adapting, and when you repeatedly engage it in meaningful, multisensory, emotionally connected tasks, you're reinforcing its strength. This is where daily life becomes medicine. When you do something with care and presence, you activate not just memory, but emotion, awareness, and physical coordination. It's this beautiful blend, mind, heart, and body, that keeps the brain alive. Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, a leading neuroscientist, puts it this way. The most important thing you can do for your brain is to keep it actively engaged with your environment in a rich, meaningful way. And you're already doing that. With every dish you cook, every flower you plant, every smile you offer, your mind is blooming. A look inside a real story. Alice's turnaround. Let me tell you about Alice. She's 83, widowed, and lives in a quiet neighborhood in Michigan. A few years ago, after her husband passed, she found herself slowly withdrawing. Days blurred together. Her memory started slipping. She stopped calling friends. But one morning, she heard an old Ella Fitzgerald song on the radio. It reminded her of the dance hall where she and her husband first met. That memory stirred something. She got up, she played the full album, she called her granddaughter and asked to plant tulips that weekend. She started telling stories again about the war, the dresses she sewed, the songs she loved, and she even joined a local cooking class for seniors. Within months, her energy changed, her memory returned in waves, and her neurologist, he said it wasn't magic, it was neuroplasticity in action. That's the power of reconnecting with everyday joys. Alice didn't find a miracle cure. She found rhythm, ritual, and meaning, and her brain responded with gratitude. Why simplicity is smarter than strategy. We live in a world that pushes complexity, apps, regimens, tech, but the truth is, the brain thrives on simplicity. Familiar patterns with emotional richness, movement with meaning, tasks with purpose. And at this stage of life, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters more intentionally. Everyday actions, when repeated with care, form what psychologists call cognitive anchors. They stabilize memory, mood, and attention, and they do it quietly, powerfully, without fanfare. So instead of feeling pressure to learn a new language or master chess, try this. Plant a flower. Cook something from memory. Share a story. Dance to your old favorite song. That's not a fallback. That's wisdom. Here's what a simple, brain-strengthening week might look like. Monday, go for a walk in a new neighborhood. Tuesday, cook dinner using only memory. Wednesday, call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Thursday, rearrange a drawer or closet just slightly. Friday, listen to your favorite 60s playlist. Saturday, plant herbs or tend to a potted plant. Sunday, tell a loved one a story from your past. It doesn't take hours, just intention. 5 to 10 minutes of present, connected action each day can build powerful mental habits over time. Think of each as a drop in a well. Day by day, your cognitive strength deepens. How joy enhances brain chemistry. Joy isn't just an emotion. It's brain chemistry. When you engage in things that bring you joy, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These aren't just happy chemicals. They directly influence memory, learning, and focus. So yes, smiling at your dog, laughing at a memory, baking your favorite pie, all of that builds brain health. And the more consistently you give your brain joyful experiences, the more it adapts. It starts to expect joy, seek it, and it begins to wire itself around those feelings. That's the brilliance of the human mind. It follows the path you most often walk.
Why connection matters more than isolation. Loneliness is dangerous, not just for the heart, but for the brain. According to the National Institute on Aging, social isolation is associated with a 50% increased risk of dementia. But connection, even light connection, acts like a protective shield. A wave to your neighbor, a phone call, a church visit, a walk with a friend. We are wired to connect, and connection keeps our mind agile, responsive, and alert. In fact, just hearing another person's voice daily can lower stress hormones and support cognitive function. So even if you live alone, try to connect with one person a day, even if it's just to say hello. Let's get practical. Tonight, you can play a favorite album from your teens, call a friend and share one story, cook something without the recipe, take a short walk before sunset, write down one thing you're grateful for. These aren't chores, they're invitations. Little doors you can open to let more light into your day and more strength into your mind. Don't wait for motivation. Choose one small action. Your brain will meet you there. The hidden gift in these activities. These 7 everyday activities, they do more than build memory. They build dignity. They say, I'm still here. I still matter. My mind still works. My story's not done yet. And that matters, because the brain listens not just to what you do, but to how you feel when you do it. Pride, presence, playfulness. This isn't about fighting aging. It's about embracing the richness of who you've become and nourishing the mind that got you here. The Forgotten Notebook. I once met a woman named Joan who kept a small blue notebook. Every day, she wrote one thing she noticed: a bird, a smell, a memory, a feeling. She said it helped her catch her thoughts before they wandered. Years later, her granddaughter found the notebook, filled with colors and quiet reflections. It wasn't just a journal. It was a map of a mind that stayed beautifully awake. Joan passed at 91, but her thoughts lived on. Her memories mattered. Yours do too. Your brain is listening. What will you say to it today? You've just discovered 7 simple things: walking, cooking, gardening, storytelling, music, connection, and trying new things that don't just fill your days, they shape your brain quietly, powerfully. So let me ask you, which one will you begin today? And if this video resonated with you, even just a little, please type 2 in the comments below. That tells me you're part of this beautiful community of people who still believe in living fully, loving deeply, and thinking clearly at any age. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone you care about. Let's keep spreading hope, one brain at a time.